Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today are Janine B. and Bridget D. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And yes, I actually finally did get the new intro done. So thank you, Janine, for being so patient while I got there. But hey, I got there, okay?
Thanks, Walt. I knew you didn't forget about me. It's all good.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. And it's also good because Stacie is joining us again. Stacie Clenet. Now I have to admit, when you were on the last time, Stacie, and I said, well, we got to have you back because we got to talk about this other stuff. I didn't expect it was going to be this soon. So this is cool.
Because she's a busy woman. I mean,
you are a very busy woman. I mean, I figured, well, maybe she might be able to find some time at the end of September or something, but no.
Oh, well, you know, my most important factor lately is it fun? If I have fun doing it, then I'm going to do it sooner than later.
Cool. Now there's an endorsement.
That's why I wear dirty clothes all the time, because washing clothes is not fun. No, I'm just teasing.
I like that.
I actually really enjoy doing laundry. Great low thought activity.
It is.
It's a great
story.
I'm really teasing about that, people. I clean, trust me.
Well, we were going to put out a poll, but now that you mentioned it.
I needed to laugh. Thanks, guys. Really needed to laugh.
Oh, the laughs have only started. We've got another 58 minutes of laughter to go on. So
that's right.
just a little warning here. But no, when Stacie was on last time, at the last 3 or 4 minutes, I asked her to kind of give us a little bit of a background of some of the stuff she'd done in the past. And there was so much meat in there. I said to myself, we need to have her on to do another show, because as we know in TYA Boot Camp, as anyone knows who's done any kind of work on themselves, as anyone knows who has gone through the whole process of being exposed to the law of attraction and how that works, and then how you're going to react to it and so forth, you go through changes, and those changes are directly impacted by where you were. Mm-hmm. So I thought it'd be really interesting if Stacie, who's like, you know, the head coach of TYA and like the person who has all of the goods on how you grow from where you were to where you are, could share how she grew from where she was to where she is. So I put the pressure on you. I know.
Yeah, no pressure at all. It's really interesting, because immediately when you start to ask me questions like that, I go back to what I referred to in the past as my original wound, which is being adopted. So I was this beautiful baby that was born out of wedlock. There was no one to catch me, no mother, no father. I spent 3 months in an orphanage. I'm very well connected to the angelic realm because of the nuns that took care of me. I also have a very strong voice. I'm very strong vocally, because there were lots of other babies that needed attention as well.
Ah, yes.
If you spoke up, you didn't get any attention.
Yeah, a little competition there.
Yeah, so that's, for me, was my entry point into this body, into this existence. And it was really like the path was paved for me to just constantly be looking for the next why. Why am I like this? Why do I look like this? Why do I feel this way? Why does this make sense and that doesn't make sense? I like to tease during the boot camp meetings that I'm the perpetual 3-year-old. That is the truth. I always ask why, and not only of myself, but I ask the same question of other people, which I think is why I'm a good coach. Leads me to that, well, why? Why are you feeling this way? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And I can distinctly remember when I was a child, 5, 6, especially older in adolescence, staring in the mirror at myself, looking deeply into my eyes. Like I would find some answer there, because I didn't look like my mom. I didn't look like my dad. They are very clear that I was adopted, so it wasn't like a, surprise.
Right.
It just happenstance to get 2 brothers that I have that are blonde and blue-eyed. So that was kind of coincidental. I don't know, that made us match well or something. But yeah, that searching began very young in me. Very, very young. And
we We all know about that searching too. And by the way, I see Donna. Hello, Donna in the live stream. She knows about it too. But everybody here on the panel knows all about it too. That searching, regardless of where we're coming from, we're searching for answers. And I think everybody who's ever been a kid, and we all have, of course, has asked questions along those lines one way or another. But particularly those of us who, for whatever reason, ended up in this general circle, in a rather strong way in our lives. We've been asking questions all of our lives. And they weren't just existential questions. They were questions about what the heck am I doing here?
Yes, that is definitely a large question in my mind. Not so now, but in the past, definitely. Like, why am I here? This is so backwards. Oh my God, everything takes so long. I remember when I could manifest like that. The things that I wanted.
Remember, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Janine.
I have a question, Stacie.
Sure.
Were your brothers adopted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all three of us. So we had different families and different experiences around, I think we were the stereotypical, order of children. Like I'm the eldest. My middle brother has very much middle brother.
Okay.
Things. I won't call them issues because that's his.
I got him.
Yeah.
But what fun would it be if there were no issues? So.
No, exactly. Well, he might be able to reflect on that now and say yes, but back then, and none of them have gone down the same path that I have in terms of the searching, the relentless, persistent questioning of why.
So what was different for you then? Why did you do that, do you think?
That's a really good question, Walt.
It's a question I've been trying to answer for myself, so I figure maybe if you can answer it, I'll know.
That's fair. That's very fair. Why do I ask why? It's because I know there's something else out there.
Ooh.
You have that feeling inside you. I have that feeling that there's more. Yeah. It's not just what we see. It's not just what we're touching and tasting and experiencing emotionally with the people in front of us. I'm sensitive to all the other energetic realms. I can feel things, sense things. Like Janine saying she had to choose a card before she came about whether she was coming or going to the airport. You knew what that card was before you even pulled it.
True.
We were talking a little bit about this beforehand, but I'm in California right now, and with my husband on his business trip, and our flight was delayed Sunday by 4 hours. And I was going to pull a card, and I thought, you know what, let's just meditate on it. I had a great 25 minute meditation session. I came out of it. I pulled my card. I have these ascents, and I believe. And my husband walks by, and I said, "Here, pick a card." And he usually would never pick a card. And he picked the card, and he goes, "Well, that's interesting," because it was relevant to his question. And then I said, "Well, I'm going to pick a card." And he goes, "Well, if it's a go now card, because there is a go now, then we're going to the airport." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I pulled it. It was go now to the airport. And we were like we had all of these like issues on the way to the airport. Once we got to the airport, we had issues. And then we found out that the flight had been moved up by a couple of hours, and had we not gotten to the airport, we would have missed it. And then by the time we got through check-in and everything, they had pushed it back again. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I mean, it was interesting to see my husband kind of changing with kind of getting more into the LOA vibe and kind of accepting it, seeing these like really weird quinky dinks that happen, and it's interesting to see people grow and change from it. So
it's interesting to see ourselves grow as well. I mean, because I resonated totally with what you were just saying a moment ago, Stacie, about that there was something else there, something that you needed to tap into, something that you just knew was there and you weren't sure what it was. Yeah. I think we all kind of experienced that in LOA circles when we first hear about the basic concepts that are involved here, and we say, "Oh yes, of course," because you could tell. I mean, it was always there. You knew it was there. For myself, the big part of my journey that I really tapped into as I was learning about this was my experience with religion growing up. And I mean, I really rejected religion. I rejected it big time. But I did it with information. I did it with knowledge because I read the Bible cover to cover. I became a communicant member of the church. I mean, I went through all this stuff and I said, this is a bunch of BS. I can't do this anymore. And so when I heard about the spiritual side of law of attraction, I said, yeah, of course. I'm glad somebody had the nerve to say it. That's the way it felt to me.
Yep. I was like you. I tried every religion on, like a coat. Okay, let's try this one on. Wore it for a while. Oh, yeah, it fits really poorly. It's scratchy under the arms. Or, oh, I'm way too hot. What the heck? You know?
That's exactly what my parents did with us too, because we weren't raised with religion, and they kind of set us out and sent us to, different churches to explore. And I realized that organized religion just wasn't for me either. It's the same.
Yeah, there was always a gap. There was always a hole. There was always a dogma that
something
I just
couldn't
get aligned with. It was like, no, I can't go there. Like, I don't believe that piece of judgment or that rule. Yeah.
Yeah, I was brought up Catholic, and there's certain things like, having sex before you get married, or, God not accepting gay people. Yet we were born, you're born that way, So I still believe in God and pray every day, but I don't go to church anymore like the rest of my family does, because there's just so many things in there that I just don't agree with. So, yeah.
One of the things that I really resonated with, is the section of the overall LOA conversation about judgment. You made reference to that word, Stacie, the judging. That was what stunned me about all the Bible stories I read, because I literally read the whole thing the way you read a novel. I read it from the beginning, from Genesis all the way through to Revelation. And I was stunned how judgy that God of the Bible was.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 12 to 13.
Okay.
Wow, that's really young.
I was going to say, wow. Okay.
I was young for my age.
The first 3 pages.
I was old for my age, though. I mean, there's a picture of me when I was 2 years old that you swear the kid looks like he's 6.
Wow.
I mean, I was always ahead of my age. So, that was actually par for the course for me to do that.
You're just an old soul, Walt.
I'm an old soul. That's it.
Yes,
that's what we all say about everybody, right? Everybody's an old soul. There's no such thing as a young soul. Have you ever figured that one out?
Yes. Yeah. When you deal with enough people and you get an opportunity to interact on, spiritual or healing journeys with folks, you can really see. And again, no judgment. It's where we have evolved to. So I wouldn't even say that it's an old soul versus a young soul. It's more like, have you had enough experience, or more experience versus a soul with less experience, because you decided not to create as much contrast in your life, right?
Well, I do know that my wife and I got a joint psychic reading one time, and the psychic told my wife that she'd had something like 2,500 lifetimes, and I had about 1,300. I figured, well, okay, that's enough.
You're all, I'm tired.
Boy, oh boy.
She held those 1,500 over you.
Yeah. I don't want to count mine. Forget it.
I suddenly started to appreciate the movie. I forgot I just ruined the joke. Groundhog Day.
Yes.
I started to appreciate that in a new way. Like, I wonder how many times I've been living this.
That is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah, my husband knows when I'm starting to feel like it's Groundhog Day. He knows when I'm starting to get the itch, and I'm like, I gotta switch something up. I'm getting Groundhog Day feeling, I gotta do it. I gotta do something.
Definitely. That was very prevalent during this little COVID experience we all had. It was like, okay, I gotta go somewhere and do something different than staring at the walls.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
And
love it.
it's probably going to continue too. Well, that's another topic I'll perhaps get into it later on, but I want to go back to, the stuff that led into who Stacie was and what made her into the Stacie of today. So I love the first thing you said there. I mean, because look what you said first off in terms of the conversation, but I love how you just tapped into, yes, there was something else there. There was something really important. And I also love, you were doing mirror exercises before most of us knew what mirror exercises were. Yeah. Like, holy cow.
I think I was really searching. And again, I had that same knowing that the answer didn't lie out there. It was inside me. But it seemed like I needed the catalyst of the exterior circumstances and experiences to actually light that fire, to get it sparked up enough so that I could say, oh, there it is. And then once I was able to see, reoccurring themes, start being really sensitive about energy, experiencing all the different realms of religion and spirituality, and, being an energy healer, practicing sound healing. I mean, I devoured that because I was always looking for, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? And then finally I got to a point where it's like, where is the peace?
Ooh, nice question.
Inner peace. Where can I find that? So it was all that busyness, learn, consume. And then I was like, oh, wait, I'm full. I'm super full. How can I ground that into my being? How can I ground that into the world, for lack of a better term, be that guiding light, which I always knew that I had that quality as well. Of course, it seemed to have perpetuated itself as I got older too. But then I wanted the peace that went along with being stable, secure, and in total self-adoration and love with me.
And you certainly did take on a lot of stuff. I mean, you were describing, I don't remember what was on the list, but there were a number of career paths that you took throughout your life, leading up to the point where you decided to take the leap and become a life coach with this crazy new thing called TYA. But you did, I mean, there was some financial stuff in there. I don't remember, give us the overview of it. Just some of the very interesting things that you did.
Oh gosh, I've done so many different things. Okay. Out of high school, I sold sporting good equipment and athletic shoes. Wow. I've always been very athletic. So that was kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, that's really cool. In fact, I'm a former beach volleyball player. I have a black belt in a Korean style of martial arts.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
Certified yoga instructor. I mean, blah, blah. It's like, again, I was accumulating all these things. I learned how to do many different spa treatments in the realm of being a massage therapist and doing body therapy and cranial sacral and polarity and energy moving and psychic readings. And then the whole other right brain side of me is I was a former paralegal, and I specialized in real estate and contract law and landlord tenant law. Then I'm also a bookkeeper and have been doing that for years.
Holy
and I have this touch of gold that when I start working with somebody books, they make a lot of money, which pays me a lot of money. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. So, I mean, that's still something that I do for a couple of my long-term clients.
Wow.
And I love startups, which is how I kind of got involved with David after taking boot camp. And he was like, oh, do you want to help me with X, Y, and Z? I was like, sure. So
nice.
That kind of perpetuated itself into where we are now.
Yeah.
I love startups. I'll just say that again. I'm an Aries. I love to be in the front.
Did things find you or did you find them? Like, did you, for all those careers, or was it all different?
It just kind of, like one thing morphed into the next.
Okay.
Like I was a legal secretary because I didn't want to go to college. I didn't really have the aptitude for hardcore academia. I didn't have an ideal, like I was an art major. Okay. I love art. I love being creative, but that wasn't going to get me a good salary so I could survive. So I got kind of pointed into going to the secretarial route. So yes, I can take shorthand. Yes, I can type 80 words a minute. It's like all those antiquated skills, but they're handy. They're still very
They are. Oh yeah.
What about like your energy and the sound healing and whatnot? What about like all that?
That came along later. So I ended up, after I got divorced in my early 30s, dating a chiropractor. And I actually had started going to him for treatment, and then I stopped seeing him. And after I stopped seeing him, he was like, hey, want to date for a while? So we dated for a while. And he would show me different modalities of what he was doing and work on me and stuff. And then he's like, you're really good. you should look at going to massage school. I thought, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Again, another experience to try. Sure.
So it's like a path. It's not so much like destination, but it's just the things that happen along our path, right? Yeah. Of life. It's not just like, I think so many of us, especially in our culture, we have this like, we've got to be a chiropractor and that's what we are. But it's not just this final destination. It's like the things that we accumulate along the way, right? Or the experiences we accumulate along the way.
Yeah. I'm truly like a master of none, but very well educated in many.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Wonderful. And it's all been so interesting and fun and enlightening. The energetic practices, once I started getting my hands on people, I realized I did have a gift. And I was told over and over, oh my God, you're really good. Oh, I feel like a brand new person. So it's like, oh, this is very encouraging. That energy was there. So I perpetuated it. Just kept learning any modality I could get my hands on, short of going to medical school, which made me realize, looking back on my life, that I really should have gone to medical school. I shouldn't have dealt with law. That's very cerebral, but I really had more of a gift and aptitude towards medicine. So,
Well, that raises an interesting question, actually, because, as we know, everything that we do in our pre-now lives leads up to now. It all feeds in. It all serves a role. It all provides skills and so forth. But as you look back, what's the first one that comes to your mind that really stands out as, wow, I really got X out of it that I'm using today?
Oh. I think for me, it's that piece of connectedness with another human being. Because I searched for that mother-child bond for a long time, thinking that there was a hole in me. There was something wrong because I hadn't experienced that, attachment that you do with a mother and a baby. But over the years, I've found that you can create that just by opening up, by being vulnerable, by sharing parts of you that you might hold secret because you think you're going to be judged.
Mm-hmm. So what career path did that come from? Or perhaps what early part of your life path? Where did you draw from to get that skill that you brought in today?
I had a friend. This is a funny story, who lived down the street from me. She and her 6 sisters. I had no sisters, right? I would go to their house. Their mother had created this giant playroom out of a 2-car garage. They had every costume imaginable. It was such mecca. Like, we had so much fun putting on plays and musicals, and we had the whole cast right there because there were so many of them. In exercising all of those personalities, and interchanging and having our disagreements and coming to a space of agreement and then love and acceptance and just constant joy. There was so much joy around that. I realized how easy back then it was to connect with people. That you could create anything you really wanted to. Like, that was the place where all my dreams came true as a young girl, where all the imagination, all the fantasies we could create in that room. So, yeah.
I'm envious, actually, because I didn't really get connection as a concept or as an experience until much later in life. So I'm jealous you got that early. Congratulations. That's fabulous.
Thanks. Well, some parts of my life I felt very connected, and other parts of my life I felt very disconnected. And that's all by choice, because we really do orchestrate how we want to, perceive life, proceed through life, what gifts we choose to pull on, what ones we suppress. There are times, like in my 20s, when I couldn't deal with the larger voice of wisdom, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, in the back of my mind. It was like, no, shut up. I don't need this right now. Like, shut it down so that I could experience being a 20-something-year-old young woman in Southern California partying on the beach, man. Again, kind of let my ego spin out and play. Mm-hmm. So.
And I'm sure you did it very well.
I think so.
Well, and there's definite value to letting our ego spin out and play, right? Because we really learn more of what we want. And,
yes.
And so it's not like wasted time. It's just, there is no such thing.
No, absolutely not. There's not a moment in my life that I look back and went, oh, that was such a waste. No, everything is there are so many jewels and value in everything that you do, every moment that you experience, whether it's you perceive it as good or bad or ugly or happy. There's so much richness to life. And so the knowing of coming in and like, oh, this is so slow. This is so painful. Why can't I manifest like I used to? Whatever that memory was. It's nice to put that to bed. Realize it's still there. There is the slowness that happens because we are in a physical environment, dealing with polarity, dealing with other people's free will and their choice, and to start to ride the wave more and still play with that, still take that manifest in and out and watch how other people's manifestations weave in and out of your life. So, yeah,
that's true.
It's super cool.
It is. It's very cool.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, Walt.
No, you first. Go ahead.
Stacie, I've known you in the TYA for a little while now, and I have to tell you that there's this like calming effect that you have naturally. It's like you're sort of, I feel sometimes like I'm being rocked with you when I speak with you in like our one-on-ones and in our TYA boot camp. Like you just have this calming energy. I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's great.
It's very enjoyable. Your energy.
Cool.
Just a nice little thing to say.
I agree. Sure. All of the other ones that you were on with and with David, I was always like, yeah, I dig her energy for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And your laugh. I think the last one that you were on with Walt, I was like, her laugh, I love that.
Well, it's contagious.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You hear the laugh. You have to be able to laugh along with it. I mean, if you can't, you're not human.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was in a store many years after high school. I was laughing at something that somebody had said to me, and all of a sudden from around the end of the aisle, this person shows up. Stacie Clenet, I knew that was you. I could hear you laughing across the store.
That's awesome.
I thought it was hilarious. That, and I've also had teachers in the past, like gurus or guides or mentors, who was like, you laugh too much. We need to get
You laugh too much?
Of why you're so happy.
I've been told that too, Stacie, that I'm too loud, or I laugh too much, or I'm like,
what?
And it's just like, these are those people you don't really want to be around anyway after, you're just like, okay. If laughing is a problem.
Seriously. I thought it was very amusing. And yes, shortly thereafter, I did exit that group.
I'm sure you did. It does give new meaning to the words laugh therapy, but yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Now you have this quite amazing life that you've had. Lots of experiences that have really fed in for you. So I have to ask, have you found, I'll kind of limit it to the TYA journey. During their TYA journey, especially when you were in your own boot camp experience, did you find anything that was really, really hard for you? Because I get the feeling you had so much to draw upon. You didn't have to really suffer through, like, I don't know how to solve this problem. Like, it just kind of went easy for you. Am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you have to remember too, I was one of the second people to go through the boot camp course that David Sturgill had just channeled. So he was in the process of actually creating the slides, and I was divinely spoiled because he read each and every slide to us. Each week he would sit down with the two of us and walk us through the lessons. So yes, it was easier because I had that like tutoring from David, and it was beautiful, but which I've expressed many, many times, especially during our boot camp experiences, is that it took me 1.5 years. And I can almost tell you the day where I finally got it. Oh, being down the spiral, having an obstacle is a good thing. It's a joyous occasion. It's like you can fuel from that space and move forward. Well, I'd done it a lot over my lifetime, but the concept, knowing that and trusting it took me forever.
What made the difference for you? I mean, at some point you had to find some way to kind of, align yourself with it and accept it in some way. But I've also found for myself, you have to find something you like about it. You have to find something that you really say, yeah, I mean, that's good. Yeah, I didn't like it so much at the time, but boy, that was really good. What was your thing that wasn't so good at the time, but you look back and say, yeah, that was really good?
It's not so much the thing, but it's just that concept itself was what I struggled with. It wasn't the actual experiences that I'd had in the past that were not, no bueno. My favorite, let myself off the hook line was, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
At the time, yes.
Sometimes that can apply to last words of certain people.
Right. That's right.
But that let a lot of the pressure off to change it, judge it, make it something other than what it was. Yep. It's like, yeah, you know what? It seemed like a really good idea at the time. So it was more that concept and knowing that I didn't quite get it. Like knowing I was still skirting the periphery of it and understanding the concept, but not fully trusting that was it.
So what made the difference then?
It was just something that somebody said during one of the boot camp meetings. And I literally was like, oh.
It just clicked.
It just clicked. It's like puzzle pieces that finally fell into place. And there it was. And I went, oh my God, I get it now. So yeah.
It's interesting how did people put things together in their own ways. Oh. Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Can I ask, Bridget, you've been on here and you've heard so much about like TYA, and you've heard, you've talked to many other people who've been through TYA and on. What are your thoughts about TYA, Bridge?
I love it. I do. I love it. I listen to, David Strickle's YouTube thing too, and his, podcast as well now. I just love everything about it because I'm always about like find the silver lining in it, because why am I going to sit in a bad mood or sit in like a bad place or like whatever. So I love his whole like appreciating what happened because of what came out of your crappy situation or what had happened to you made you who you are today. So like everything he said is things that I've heard before, but he words it differently to where I do. It just all comes like full circle. It makes so much sense, And it does. It makes you feel so much better when you're sitting there and like appreciating things and finding little nuggets that are amazing, because life is amazing and it is magical and we all are blessed to be here because many people aren't, so just, I love the whole thing with TYA. The only reason, I haven't honestly even joined yet is for money reasons.
Do you have, in your own, experience, I get the feeling that a lot of this stuff comes easily to you, Bridge.
That's the other thing. I kind of get it, like from listening so much to him and from all of you who are through his boot camp or going through it and things like that, to where I'm like, okay, I could possibly not do it on my own, but he gives you a lot of things for free if you go on his things. And then with all of you guys, and I've been listening to you all for years, you've had plenty of advice and all of your co-hosts as well. So
yeah. And that's one of the things too. It's, most of TYA and the tools are readily available for you, totally free of charge. But if you want the premium, guided experience, that's what you pay for. You're paying for that guided premium experience. If that's not important to you and you feel like you can implement things the way you can, that's great. But if you want to take it up a level, if you feel you're not, and that was what I think was really for me was that where I was at the point in my life when I came across David. It's like there was still that one piece.
Yes.
Where is it?
So I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for my, money to come on in, and then I'm going to sign on up.
We'll love having you.
Because that's what that is. It's a deep dive. That's the way I think of it. It's a deep dive that you do that you're doing, or an intensive. That's another way to think about it. It's a very intensive experience. It's like you're taking everything that you've been doing lately and you just kind of squeezing into, okay, now we're going to just really go into this thing. That's what it feels like. You're going through a needle, the eye of a needle or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. It is and this is probably going to sound like a corny term. It's a rebirthing. You're getting an opportunity to recreate yourself in a totally different way with different perspectives and tools that you may or may not have used effectively.
Yes.
Whether you know them or not. And you get to learn how to hone those tools, how to make sure that they're sharp and at the ready when you need them in your toolbox. You know?
Right. Exactly.
And then there's community. We have a huge community.
That's the other thing. Everyone amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Never thought a bad thing about. Yeah.
I love community. I love having other people to talk with, you literally can get on Facebook on the TYA practice page 24/7.
I know, I have to make a Facebook. There. Yeah, I'm all about connection too. I need people. I need to talk. I need to get, I love it. So yeah, I'm all about that.
Good. Yeah, but I love it. Cause last night I was having kind of a funky experience. I think I had a Kundalini awakening. It was very odd.
Really? What happened?
Yeah, please tell.
I sat in meditation and my whole body just shook like this. I was like, okay, what's going on? So, one of our fellow masters, I'm in the mastery program as well as, she lives in Hawaii, which is 3 hours behind the mainland and here in the Southern Cal. And so I was like, if I, text her, it's 8:00 at night and she's going to still be like rearing and going. And sure enough, she sure was. And she and I just chatted about that and FaceTimed a little and talked and just had a great interaction to the point where I was like, okay, this is all good. She's like, up leveling. You're up leveling. This is awesome. Sometimes you just need that little push to like, this is all good. Yeah, I was a little freaky. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what was going on and I didn't want to label it as good or bad. It was just a really interesting experience in the moment. And, and then I had the best night's sleep.
Ooh.
Oh, that was just divine. And I woke up and I was like, hey. It's just like another level of alignment, of clarity, of peace, of grounding. And then I was fortunate enough, my husband's building me an office out in the back of our yard. So it's this lovely, we call it the she shed, right? It's got, 12 by 10. It's just a little space, but I was finally able to move in this morning, which is why you're seeing a new background. And I was
I was going to ask you about that.
I got my new space.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He even told me right before I came out on the call, he's like, kind of jealous of your shed. Oh, baby, you built it for me. Like, come on, you can come and hang out.
Hey, you can borrow it for a second.
Exactly, for a second. Fine.
Have you ever had like other uplifting physical experiences, Stacie? Like, have you ever had? Because I'm noticing with myself that sometimes I don't know if it's like a physical calm before the storm. It just seems like, why am I feeling this way? I was fine, a few minutes ago and dizziness sometimes. And are these other symptoms or have you had other symptoms, reflections of,
well, they might be symptoms. Who knows?
Yeah. It is a disease.
I should say like reflections of leveling up, like other experiences.
Yeah, definitely. And that is something that I think we cover well in boot camp, but if we don't, please remind me to during one of our meetings, is that the self-care aspect is essential. I've been a part of many different retreats, spiritual or just awakening self-awareness retreats, yoga retreats, where they always have somebody there who's lending a hand in terms of doing body work. It's usually, in a location where there's hot springs, the ocean, where you can, get in and out of water and kind of cleanse yourself and and just get one with nature, because you are up leveling. I like to refer to it, and it's kind of a funny way to look at it, but it's the taffy syndrome is what I call it.
Taffy syndrome, please explain.
You got yourself like this physical being here, right? And energetically you start leveling up and zooming out, but your physical body is still here and you're energetically over here. And then all of a sudden, slam! You have to go, you get, like you almost slingshot into that full awareness and start to embody that energetically. And it's much more graceful than I demonstrate here, but there is impact. Your cellular body has to catch up. It has to reconfigure to fit that new energetic vibration that you've led it to. And so that sometimes requires lots of sleep, extra water, downtime, away from people, places, things, music, internet,
I just got like the little
Yeah, I love it.
Just, woo. Yeah,
good food, like that. So that's awesome. And that's a clear sign that, that's something that, again, is resonating for you. If you really love chocolate cake and if you've been depriving yourself of chocolate cake because, well, it's not on my diet, but you're going through a spiritual awakening and you've got that craving for chocolate cake, go eat the dang chocolate cake. Savor every bite. Savor it and feel like it's, not feel like, but know that it's feeding you on a whole other level because that is a connection to your cellular body.
That's a really interesting point. And one I think we should draw out a little bit. I have been experiencing it lately without realizing that I was experiencing it. Last few days particularly. Now, as listeners know, I run my wife's gardening service and maintenance business. We're coming toward the end of the season. We got about a month and a half left, 2 months left really of the season. But this time of year, the planting is done. There's a little transplanting that goes on, but that's about it. Most of it was done in the spring, and that cuts down on a lot of the craziness. So the scheduling is a little bit more straightforward. The issues are a little bit more straightforward. And hopefully we'll get Jean back pretty quick. But my point is that despite going through all that, I'm finding myself just kind of pulling away from the day-to-day running of it. And I still have to. It's not like the job isn't still there. I still need to do it. There's less of it. And so now I'm feeling like a little bit more empowered to kind of, step away. But I'm stepping away a lot. I spent a good portion of this day in work terms doing, quote, nothing. Now, it wasn't actually nothing, but in terms of being productive, I think I probably did about an hour's worth of work today. It was just that kind of a day. And there's that little piece of me that is longstanding that, wants to beat myself up about, hey, you're not getting any work done. But there's the other part of me that was just saying, go away. No, I'm not interested in hearing from you.
I try doing what David does and gives your other personality or whatever, a name, and it's go away thing. So I try doing that.
Well, I wasn't trying. It just kind of came out. And when, Stacie was just saying what she was saying right there, I realized that's what I'm doing. I didn't have a label for it. Yeah. I didn't even have a description for it. It was just kind of happening.
Yeah. It's a subtle organic process, and it can be misinterpreted as you're stressed out, you haven't had enough sleep, you ate the wrong thing for dinner, you watched something upsetting on the news before you went to bed. It's just a bit of a disharmony within your physical being that honestly just needs time to sit and settle and stare at a tree. I got squirrels in my yard. I watch the squirrels bounce around. That's sometimes entertaining and not really. That's super low thought activity, right?
I have to tell you something, guys, that happened. And first of all, I apologize if my internet connection goes out next time. I'll just call it. But because
drop
with
back
the hotel,
in
But yesterday, before I left for my trip, I printed out a few of my modules for the boot camp and I went to the Arboretum here in Santa Cruz, and it was really nice. I was under these big eucalyptus trees, and all of a sudden, a pair of bluebirds come, and one of them just sits on the table and just stares at me. and this went on, like they'd just hop around me for like 20 minutes while I was there, just working on this module, and it's just weird. Like what do you want from me? You want food? But it was just that like sort of, it almost felt like, hey, we're acknowledging you, kind of feeling. And,
Sure.
and, anytime I work on boot camp, something happens. Like, when I work on the modules, like I get visited by an animal, obviously, or a pair of them, these beautiful birds. And, so,
animals and children are really tuned in.
Exactly.
So that little energetic shift, when you start to shift the curiosity of like, oh, what's going on over there? Hey, I mean, my dog loves to lay on the floor next to me when we're having boot camp meetings. The master class, it was 4 hours. He laid there for 4 hours at my feet.
Oh, wow.
Why? He could have gone and played. He's a 1-year-old puppy, right? He really likes that energy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I was just noticing he was outside the door of my new office, like, hello.
Let me in.
That's so cool.
But they like that, I don't know, this is a source connection or whatever it is for them. They really dig it. And birds will come and, they're good at clearing energy. They're good at kind of picking through things. And
it's super, but I'm going to have to let you go, guys. There's people like knocking on my door. So have a great rest of your Tuesday. I don't know. It's just, it feels like it's time. So I have to call it for me. Nice to see you again, Stacie and Bridge. And love all of you guys.
Love you. Have a good
See you
night.
next week.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Well, we'll just keep the vibe going anyway. It's so sad, but we'll keep it going anyway.
That's all good. She did have some distraction in the background. It's hard to stay focused sometimes.
It's yes, no doubt about it. But what you're talking about also, yes, I have the same experience. We have 2 cats. Our cats will often tap in when we're doing something. I have one that particularly, she's not here right now, but very often she's right next to me in the chair while I'm doing the show. I mean, it's a common thing. Or the other guy during the winter, he's outside during the summer, but during the winter, he's constantly in here in my lap or whatever. So yeah, I had that experience, but there's also the other side of it, because particularly when you go through boot camp, and I'm about a little over halfway through right now. You also notice your own stuff changing, and it takes a while. It took me, and I don't know, maybe this isn't true for everybody. It took me a while to recognize that that's what I was seeing and experiencing. I was experiencing the change. To me, it seemed, from my perspective, it felt like there's other stuff happening that's different. And I had to think about it and realize, no, that stuff that's happening is because I'm different. I have to kind of consciously make the connection. Cause I can see the stuff happening. It's like, well, that's really interesting. I mean, I had this different experience that I've never had before, and now it's happening there. Oh yeah, it's that new thing. Right. Got it. I have to keep reminding myself of that. I'll give you an example. People know about this software that I had written that I'm going to start using. And I, even before I was ready to launch it, I realized, no, I wanted to do something else. There's one other thing I've been wanting to do. I didn't like the way that the first developer did this one piece. I wanted it to be done right, the way I wanted it to be. So I did some searching. I found another developer to take over. I really like this guy. He's a young guy from Colorado. And as soon as I found him, a couple things happened. First, I had like 40 different developers I was picking from. So I had a nice, collection, so to speak. I had narrowed it down to a short list of about 4. And all of them had all of the requirements that I needed them to meet, except this guy. He was missing one of them. And I almost knocked him off the list. And in fact, I did knock him off the list. And I said to him, I'm sorry, I really do need to have this other thing filled in. And he came back with an answer that so completely surprised me that I put him back on the list. I mean, if you want to know what it was, basically, he typically, I've dealt with a lot of developers. When a developer gets knocked off the list, or when the developer is kind of taken a step back, where you tell him he's taken a step down compared to others, they'll fight their way back up.
Okay.
This guy said, oh, I totally understand. No problem at all. If there's anything that you need help with, let me know. I thought, well, there's a different answer. I wasn't used to that one, right? So I said, I like that answer. I want to talk to you some more. And literally within about 20 minutes, he talked himself into the job.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Now, that was a that was a series of events that normally would not work out. They would normally not play out that way for me. Normally I'd have to go through the whole, every step of the way and narrow it down to the short list and then get it down to my top two and pick from the top two and do my final contact with the one, get them signed on and so forth. Not in this case. I had my short list. I didn't even talk to the rest of the short list. This is a different experience. I said, well, this is really weird. Why is this happening? Oh yeah, it's me. It's not them. I'm the one who changed. And that's what I keep running into over and over again. The recognition that, no, I'm the one who's doing this. I'm the one who's making all this stuff shift. Because I would have in the past, and I still have a tendency right now apparently to do it, I would have said, no, it's the outside experiences that are changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The outside experiences are a direct reflection of what's happening for you energetically.
They are, yeah.
And your projection into what we perceive as the outward world.
Mm-hmm.
Your energetic signature manifestations, creations go way before you do physically.
But how interesting.
It's so interesting.
We point to this stuff and then we learn about it. And then we still find ourselves playing the old patterns and having to remind ourselves over and over and over again. It's like this unlearning that goes on.
Yeah, and it'll lessen as you keep practicing. And that's the whole thing. TYA is a practice.
Right.
You don't go through boot camp and you're cured.
Yeah.
And you just go on with the rest of your life. People with that mindset, unfortunately, we watch them slide back down pretty hard and hit bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It is a practice. It's like brushing your teeth and flossing. You do it every day. You just do because you know what's good for your teeth. You'd like to keep your teeth until you're old so you can chew your food, right? Same thing. It's like if you want to keep your vibe high, you want to continue to keep your vibe higher and higher and higher because there is no ceiling with this practice. You got to do it every day. Even though we've had not great experiences with religion, Bridge mentioned that she still believes in God and she still prays because that's an integral ritualistic habit that you started as a child. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's sacred to you. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Connects you to whatever you feel is your highest. And that's how we hope our TYA students will take their practice. Buy in 110% to exactly everything that we're showing you. Then once you start getting towards the end of boot camp, as you'll start to watch yourself waltz as you're winding things up, you get more and more into using those tools to customly create the world you want. Mm-hmm. Customize your toolbox to make it so it all flows and fits exactly the way you want it to work. And you make that practice for yourself. You ritualize it. You create whatever TYA tool is or is not sacred. And that's one of the reasons why I love it as well. We're not telling you have to do it. You have to meditate 3 times a day and you have to eat only vegan food and, none of that.
Good.
None of that. No. I can either. I'm a carnivore all the way. So it's like we're giving you the option to take this high stream source perspective, the tools that have been literally laid out like the keys of the universe in front of you. How can you integrate this into the operating system of your being and perpetuate it forward to create exactly the life you want, to make your dreams the reality that you want to see, to experience more and more joy?
Yes.
That's what TYA is about.
By the way, these last 2 minutes, these last 2 or 3 minutes here where Stacie went off on that beautiful little rant, that's exactly what it's like to be in the TYA boot camp group meeting. That's exactly what it's like.
But it's true. I mean, it's like the more I play with this, and it is play, you're experiencing things now, Walt, where you're just starting to get like, oh, wait a second. If I play with this a little more, if I experiment a little farther, and tweak things this way and that way, what will happen next? That's again, my second question to myself is not, the first one's why. The second one is always, what will happen next? Mm-hmm. If I try X, what will happen next? Mm-hmm. If I try Y, what will happen next? My curiosity is always right at the ready.
That's a great skill to have your curiosity right there on the tip of your tongue, so to speak. Yep. So you can just grab it and run with it.
Yeah. What sign did you say you were?
I'm an Aries.
Okay.
I like running ahead of everything.
Yes.
But I encourage you just keep rolling with it, Walt. The more you see those little things show up, do a little back
like I said, I'm a little over halfway through, and I can say that I can tell I've made progress. I can tell there's more to be done. I can tell also it's going to be needing to be done long after TYA boot camp is done. And I can also see that it is an ongoing thing, that there's always that push me, pull you feeling of like, oh no, don't bother with that. That's a bunch of nonsense. And you have to kind of keep reminding yourself. You have to keep kind of reinvesting yourself. That's what I find myself doing a lot. It's just, oh no, don't fall into that trap. Got to get into it again. Reinvest. It pays off. Go on. Keep on. Keep going. Keep going. There's so many temptations to just say, okay, I give up on this. And you can't. You got to keep going.
I love doubt because it is the spot that creates the static in your vibration where you trip a little.
Or a lot.
Or a lot, exactly. And then you go, oh, wait a second. It like kind of snaps you back to reality, like wakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get an opportunity to choose again, which is extremely powerful.
And you come back with more energy, I feel like sometimes.
Yes.
You just come back with more gusto, like, let's go.
You're all, not doing that again, right?
If there's anybody who knows about energy, it's Bridge. I mean, you look up the word energy in Wikipedia and there's a picture of her. I mean, it's really very direct.
Awesome. But yeah, I love now that I know why I need to love my down the spiral time and my obstacles. I truly do. And in the TYA organization, I work closely with David and Carrie as one of our top administrative assistants and creator of all good things TYA. When something comes up in the business that all of us notice at the same time, we're like, okay, this is clarity. What do we need to do next to get really clear exactly what's happening here? What was the vibe that contributed to it? And how can we shift things to move into the vibe that we're looking to attain, wanting to create as a whole? And again, that brings me back to the community of TYA. More energy, more people creates more energy. It just perpetuates itself. So the more you're involved with that large amorphous blob of community that's TYA, the more you'll be able to pull off of that person who's in Austria that you need to text in the middle of the night because you're like, I'm so down the spiral and I need to be reminded what tool to use. I've forgotten.
Yes.
It's all at your fingertips 24/7. So
that's
cool.
So
cool. It is. It really is.
It is really cool.
It's cool. I mean, even just outside of energetic circles, basic social sciences, the social science circles, they all talk about how the two things that are most essential to determining the success of any human being is, number one, how socially connected are they? That's the number one, according to positive psychology movement and all that, is how socially connected are you? I think they say it's something like 45% determinant. Like, that alone, all by itself, is going to determine your success in life. So yeah, I'm really glad that, that's a big portion of it.
Totally makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's quite obvious.
It's like one thing that they always say too. It's you're most like the first 5 people you're closest to. So who you surround yourself with is really an indicator of where you are vibrationally. And sometimes that's nice, and sometimes that's not so nice.
Well, today it's been really nice. I gotta tell you.
Thank you guys.
Fabulous. So thank you so much for spending the time. We're going to have you back again another time. I mean, all you have to do is just pick a time when you want to get that high vibe. You know where the link is. Get the thing done. Thank you to podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.